every day that you don't play for momentum, for every one day that you take off, for every one day that you take it easy, you voluntarily give up 2 to 3 times the momentum. Meaning that for every one day that you give up, dude, it's going to take you 3 days to get that back. And it's not just get ahead, it's to get back to 0. And then it'll probably take you another 2 or 3 days to actually start inching it up. And that's what's tricky about momentum. It's super deceiving because you don't know when it's going to kick in. And when you realize that you've lost the momentum, it's too late. All right, TSL, let's get it. Welcome back, or welcome to another edition of the Sales Life. And the Sales Life is just not for those in the sales profession. It's for those who are building the life skills of selling. Because I want you to be a top producer, but not just personally. I want you to be a top producer professionally as well. I'll probably say that backwards. I don't want you to be a top producer professionally, but also personally. And the way that you're going to do that is you have to be able to take some of the selling skills, the skills we learn in the sales profession, and apply those to your life. And it's what I call the 8 C's. And the 8 C's are communication, connection, curiosity, creativity, consistency, continuous learning, being coachable, and being able to handle some of the criticism. And so you've got to take those things and apply those to your personal life as well. Because I say sales is life, life is sales, ta-da, that's why I call it Sales Life. So I am super happy to be back, not only for a episode on the Sales Life podcast, and if you have not subscribed to that, be sure and do so. It's on Apple, Spotify, and trying to get on Amazon, man, on Amazon Prime. So we're working on that. So super excited if that gets on there, and there's lots of other platforms that it is on also. But I'm more so happy because I have internet service, so I can get back on Facebook and go live with it. So super happy to be back with that. And so yes, you could go on Facebook on cellular data, but the problem is I had the wrong cellular company. And so I recently switched over, last night as a matter of fact, I switched over and I left Sprint. Now I'm with AT&T, and we'll see what happens, man. I never had an issue with Sprint until this hurricane. And it has been lackluster at best, Nat. What's happening, man? So real quick, man, I want to talk about something that is super important for you, because you have to realize, man, when you're stepping out in your sales life today, that you're playing for more than a win. You're playing for momentum. And let me give you an example. Recently, those of you who listen to the Sales Life podcast, our hometown was devastated by a Category 4 hurricane. Talked about that, many episodes. And there's so many metaphors, man, that I have learned from and been able to apply. And I don't want to every episode come back with something about the hurricane, but there's so many. We face devastation in our lives all the time. And so let me give you an example. So our business was rocked, man. We got beat up pretty bad. But when you have situations like this, your bigger businesses, they have interruption insurance. And so that interruption insurance provides a safety net, financial safety net, for you while you get back on your feet. And so knowing that, some veteran salespeople, what they did is they knew already going into the month what they were going to make. And I witnessed two different types of people. I witnessed some salespeople knowing that they had the safety net. They eased up. And so they didn't approach the month with the same kind of hunger and ferocity that they normally would. They lost that aggression. So they stopped coming around. They worked a few hours. It was just whatever. And then I saw some other veteran salespeople, even though that they knew that the safety net was there, they applied even more pressure and they stepped up their game. And they actually exceeded what they normally would do, even though they have devastation that they have to face in their own personal lives. And let me tell you what's interesting about that. And it's not to pick on the people who did or didn't, because I've done it too, is when you play to something that's just the safety net and you already know that it's there, you lose what you're playing for because you think you already got the win. And we're not playing to win today. What I want you to think about is, dude, you got to play for momentum. That's what you're playing for. Momentum. If it's great, it's over. Next, momentum. If it's bad, it's over. Next, let's go. Because every day that you don't play for momentum, for every one day that you take off, for every one day that you take it easy, you voluntarily give up 2 to 3 times the momentum. Meaning that for every one day that you give up, dude, it's going to take you 3 days to get that back. And it's not just get ahead, it's to get back to 0. And then it'll probably take you another 2 or 3 days to actually start inching it up. And that's what's tricky about momentum. It's super deceiving because you don't know when it's going to kick in. And when you realize that you've lost the momentum, it's too late. It's already gone. And it works you overtime. So don't be surprised. And dude, I've done this. I've done this where I've been in vacation mode, right? And so you start the month off and in 2 weeks you're going on vacation. And knowing that, I rested on my past wins. I rested on my natural talent of something doing this for 2 decades. I can wing it. I can. But if all I'm doing is I'm trying to get to that vacation spot, then for every day that I'm already at that vacation spot before physically getting to that vacation spot, I've lost so much momentum. So when you start getting on these slick spots, when all of a sudden the weight creeps back on you, all of a sudden, when your sales go from you were riding high just last month, 2 months ago, I mean, you were unstoppable, and now, dude, you're bottomed out. See, when you have those situations, it's because you were resting on the wins. You were resting on how it felt. And because you didn't feel like playing for momentum, you gave 2 to 3 days back. So don't get deceived today, man. When your sales life tries to whisper to you to take it easy, to just double up tomorrow, don't do it. Because, see, progress only pays dividends more progress is added. So let me give you a few pointers on what momentum does for you. And this is something that I want you to take into your mindset. Especially, man, be reminded of this when you have the don't wants. And let me tell you something. 5 minutes before hitting record on this thing, I almost went back to bed because I didn't feel like it. I just didn't want to do it. And dude, I gotta go outside and I gotta go run. I didn't want to do it. So I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to me too. So, a few pointers on momentum and what momentum does for you. Number one is momentum creates options, not scarcity. See, momentum will create the options. The more options that you have, the more options that are available, the more that you can do with those options. See, it's only when you lose that momentum that you get into that scarcity. And that's why it looks like every customer is picking on you. That's why it looks like that nothing comes together for you. That's why it looks like nothing is progressing at the gym, Kenny. It's because you stop playing for momentum. Another thing that momentum, I'm glad to be back too, Kenny. Momentum also creates fragmented experiences. And the fragmented experiences, this is what I like about momentum. When you have those experiences, see, every customer that you talk to is not just one experience that you take away from that. Because within every customer, every experience, it's going to fragment. Because you may have 4 or 5 different scenarios in that one situation that you can learn from those things. See, we tend to look at things one-to-one. One customer. Oh, I didn't make a sale. Yeah, but what's the experiences? See, you've got to, like we talked about on last week's episode, or Tuesday's episode 586, you got to get the lessons, even though you take the loss. And it may not be a loss. It just seems like a loss today. But see, building that momentum, what that's going to do is it's going to give you fragmented experiences, meaning that you can take, when something is solid and it fragments out, it smashes to the ground, you have all these different fragments. Then what you can do is you can take all of these different pieces of experiences and move those forward into your sales life. The third thing momentum does, it creates good tension. Momentum creates good tension. So when you hit the slick spots, and you will always hit a slick spot, there will never be a problem-free month for you in your sales life. So the momentum for you, what it does is when you're always working for momentum, what you're able to do is you're able to work through the tension because you don't have the scarcity, you have options. You can work through the tension, and it doesn't mean that every single deal, your whole life rides on this one outcome, this one result, this one effort. It creates good tension. And you have the ability to work through the tension and stay mentally within that tension, because you don't need to have a meltdown, man. Another thing, because I know you need to go. Momentum creates that rhythm, man. That's that flow, that's that hum you gotta have. And see, think about this. During the hurricane, I use another metaphor for the hurricane. During the hurricane, man, my life was disrupted. So what I normally did every single morning, I didn't have the ability to do. And so my rhythm was thrown off, way off. And I was frustrated. I was edgy. I didn't feel productive. I'm not able to, part of my productivity is being able to video, being able to share the podcast, being able to do these kind of different things. And I didn't have that ability all the time. So I lost that rhythm. And see, when you're not playing for momentum, you lose that rhythm. You lose that hum. And it's what Jeb Blunt calls the cumulative impact. See, that's important, because a cumulative impact accumulates, it racks up. And when you're not playing for momentum, you have that cumulative impact too. It's just the other way. It's negative. But when you're playing for momentum, and this is something that you got to psychologically keep yourself in the game for this thing. So when it seems like it's not working, man, I'm just playing for momentum. Things are going to line up for me, but they won't line up if I ease up, if I cave to my feelings, if I feel like, oh my God, this is not woe is me. Remember, it's not woe is me, it's wait it's me. What is I can do to tweak this thing right here? So the momentum creates the rhythm. And the last thing is, dude, you can't have a tipping point if you got nothing to tip. So playing for momentum every single day. Don't just focus on the one day. Don't just focus on the one outcome. Didn't work. I told you this wasn't gonna work. You institute this new plan for the week. I told you it ain't gonna happen. Don't do that. Because see, you've got to reach that tipping point. So what that means is you have to put all of this effort into it. Tons of effort. No results. And then all of a sudden you get the outcome. It reaches that tipping point, and then all of a sudden spills over and you get huge results. But when you get the results, you got to keep playing for that momentum also. And dude, case in point, man, for me, was, with my weight loss. When I was going through the weight loss, man, the first 2 months, dude, I didn't see anything. I wasn't getting any results. But by month 4, but keep in mind, man, this is a decade or more of packing on the pounds. And I wanted it to happen overnight. And after a month, it wasn't working. And after 2 months, it wasn't working. But dude, by month 4, the tipping point. It reached the tipping point. That's why I had to just show up. I just had to show up every day. And when it reached that tipping point, everything spilled over. And all of the built up effort came sloshing over. So some days, dude, it seemed like I didn't even earn it and I was losing weight. But that's the key thing too. I keep saying we need to go, and I'm gonna go on this. That's key too. Because don't get deceived by that. Because when all of a sudden you get overwashed with these results, this is when you go on a parade. This is when you wave to the crowd. This is when you think everything's good and you've arrived. You'll never arrive. You'll never arrive because every single day I gotta play for momentum. All right? Take that into your sales life. Absolutely, Kenny, man. It's just like the Navy SEALs, man. You gotta earn your trident every day. Dude, you gotta earn it. And see, every day, man, I'm glad you bring this up, Kenny. Every day, dude, you gotta build that, it's a zero. Thanks, Nat. Thanks for tuning in, bro. You're back at zero every single day, man. Every day is a zero. Zero out. I don't care if you had a great day yesterday or a terrible day. Zero it out. New day, new momentum. All right? So don't just play to win today. Winning is important. Effort is more important. Momentum, bro, that's the king. Be sure and subscribe to the Sales Life podcast on Apple and iTunes. I'll put this video up also along with hundreds of other videos on the YouTube channel. And be sure and be alerted on Facebook. And so that way, when we go live again, I don't know exactly what my schedule is going to be yet. I don't quite know yet, but at least 1 or 2 times every week, definitely. Hopefully, maybe twice a week, maybe more. We'll see. But be alerted. So when we do go live, because I tend to kind of do things at spur of the moment, then we'll rock out with that. And that way, so if you're available, or you can catch the replay later on. So thank you for your takeaways, man. Even if you're listening to this on the replay, be sure and leave your comments, man, and share this episode with others. If somebody else, you feel them, they're just kind of letting up, they ain't playing for nothing big, say, bro, look, we're playing for momentum. Don't take it from me, take it from old Uncle Marsh. So have an amazing day. Remember, the greatest sale you'll ever make is to sell you on you, because you're more than enough. Stay amazing. Stay in the sales life.